The recent reshuffling and chaos of the EV tax credit has left Hyundai, Kia, Genesis, the Korean automakers, as well as the Japanese automakers and European automakers, left them on the outside looking in, since they have to be produced in North America in order to begin to qualify for the EV tax credit. So here's Hyundai and SK Innovations. They're establishing an EV joint venture in Georgia. They're going to be producing tons of EVs out of this plant. Well, I should say tons of batteries out of this plant to produce EVs at adjacent plants for the Korean automakers. If you're excited for US-made Korean cars, smash the like button. There are quite a few that are already made here, but not EVs. The only Korean EV that's made in the United States is the GV70 electric that I just drove last week. Make sure to check out that review. That vehicle is insane. So we have this battery joint venture going on with SK Innovations, or SK On. Total investment is going to be $5 billion between the two companies, each having a 50% stake. The EV battery cell plant will be in Bartow County, Georgia, and that correlates with the news coming out late last year that they were going to be building a plant together. Now it's just official. Now we have all the details. Now, the new plant is going to produce 35 gigawatt hours of battery cells, enough to produce 300,000 all-electric vehicles. Well, we know Kia and Hyundai both want to build their large three-row crossovers here, and those should require pretty large battery packs. I ran the math here, and it seems like they're going to be producing big old batteries for big old vehicles out of this plant. Okay, so the reason is we take 35 gigawatt hours of batteries and we divide it by 300,000 EVs. That's an average of 116 kilowatt hour battery, which is enormous. They can make well over 400,000 EVs if they're the 77 kilowatt hour battery that we see, let's say in the Ioniq 5 EV6, for example. So they're going to be producing 300,000 plus, I would say. I'd say that's on the minimum end. But I think with them giving us a pretty concrete number here does pretty much confirm that most of these battery packs will be for the Ioniq 7 and EV9 three-row crossover large SUVs. And let's not forget Genesis models as well that could benefit from having a large battery pack. Hyundai's Mobis company will assemble the battery pack cells and then supply them to manufacturing facilities for production for Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis EV models. Well, I believe Hyundai has a plant in Alabama and Kia has a plant over in West Point, Georgia. Could we expect the Ioniq 5 EV6 from Kia and let's say the GV60 to be built here in North America? It's possible. I just don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. And these batteries will be coming in the second half of 2025, which lines up kind of well with LG Chem and Honda's battery ramp up in Ohio, as well as Toyota's battery ramp up out of their plant in North Carolina. At Inside EVs, Hyundai's battery plant is in Georgia, where SK already has two other plants that are supplying Ford, I think Volkswagen, maybe Hyundai already as well. And then you also see SK having joint ventures with Blue Oval in Tennessee and Kentucky. Also recently, which has also got a lot of political backlash, is that Ford struck a deal with CATL to build batteries here in North America as well. And this comes on the back of Hyundai producing massive profits. They've reported a net profit for the quarter through January through March of roughly $2.5 billion, which doubled the profit they had during the quarter last year. They've been able to sell more vehicles thanks to the chip supply issues getting better. And its operating profit margin is around 10%. That's around where Toyota's is. That's right at the top of the, I guess, traditional OEM automaker game. Tesla can do a lot better than 10%, but recently they're happy to shave off profit margins for the sake of volume. Since their profit margins were so good, they're able to undercut a lot of the competition and sell cheaper EVs and not take a loss compared to what Ford is doing. Ford's taking massive losses trying to keep up with the prices of Tesla, for example. So Hyundai and Kia's used to qualify for the EV tax credit, $7,500. New tax credit regulations came in late 2022. And none of them qualify even just a little bit anymore. And I thought the GV70 was going to, and then it was just announced literally the day after I did my review on it that it no longer qualifies for the EV tax credit. But you can get it through leasing. That is the loophole. And so Hyundai's been boosting lease sales up to 35% now for their EVs because the dealer will actually get the $7,500 tax credit at that point. So I don't think it's like literally a down payment of $7,500 for the lease. I think that $7,500 reduces the price of the vehicle, which reduces a little bit the price of the lease. If you're waiting for a Korean EV with the EV tax credit, if you're purchasing or financing, you're going to have to wait till 2026. And before then, in 2024 and 25, they're going to spend more money on incentives for EVs so they don't lose to the competition. They don't lose out in market share as well. Analysts are forecasting a record profit for Hyundai in 2023, and it looks like they want to increase global market share even more, targeting Southeast Asia, where that has been a stronghold for the Japanese automakers. And since Japanese EV models don't really have any presence there, they think they have that opportunity for Hyundai to grow with EVs in Southeast Asia. All right, switching on over to another battery plant going on. This has been evolving on my other channel, but I shut it down, so this is getting pushed to my main channel now. General Motors and LG Chem have been trying to work out, I think it was a fourth battery plant together, a joint venture. LG Chem did not want to be tied down to GM that heavily. And in fact, instead, LG Chem is working with Honda instead with their own battery plant. So GM had to look for other suppliers of batteries in order to set up their fourth EV battery plant. And it looks like they're doing it with Samsung. They're investing $3 billion in an additional battery plant number 4 for General Motors. And targeted output will begin in 2026 and will have an annual capacity of 30 gigawatt hours. If we get the calculator back out, it's 30 gigawatt hours. And we're going to divide it. Let's say the average battery pack size is 75 kilowatt hours. That's about 400,000 EVs they could build there, depending on the battery pack size, right? We still don't know the location of the planned joint venture plant. Now, GM thinks they can build 400,000 EVs here in North America through mid-2024 and 1 million EVs annually in North America by 2025. And sources say General Motors is considering it will eventually need at least 2 more additional EV plants. Holy smoke. So 6 plants total to meet the demands, meet against the demands of what GM is expecting the demand will be. And we'll end with something fun here. At the Financial Times, Chinese battery electric vehicle maker XPeng thinks there are only going to be 10 automakers that will survive the global EV battle. And I think most of us have foreseen that there will be a consolidation, meaning big brands will buy up and absorb smaller brands. That's kind of already happening or has been happening for a very, very long time. I guess it's probably always happened in the automotive industry. I don't think that there's only going to be 10 brands. He says that for China to be a top player in the game, they have to sell 3 million cars a year. And that's not saying XPeng alone. That's all the Chinese automakers combined from the sounds of it. He says in 5 to 10 years, there's going to be a consolidation and a concentration going on. And I think the number of players will probably be reduced to less than 10 at the global stage, says XPeng's Gu. So I think there's a better chance of there being no XPeng in 10 years versus 10 companies left standing. So I had a little fun with this and I came up with my own list, and not in any particular order in terms of volume or anything, but my own list on the 10 automakers left in a post-EV apocalyptic world. I think Toyota would be able to weather the storm if it went EV only. Volkswagen, Stellantis, because they're built up of just 1 million different companies here. I actually forgot to put in Hyundai, but obviously they would be in there because they're already crushing it. Mercedes would be in there. Ford. I think I could actually see a future where GM and Honda merge together, because Honda's, at least their automaking business, is mainly in the United States. Well, at least that's their biggest market. And, I guess outside of China. China's their biggest market as well. But I could see GM and Honda working together, not only in the North American market, but the Chinese market. And then Honda having small K cars or whatever for their domestic market. All right. Tesla would be in there as well. Nissan, Renault, Mitsubishi, Reliance, if it's still together. If it falls apart, then it would just be like Nissan and Mitsubishi together. I think absolutely they'll be around in 10 years. BYD, absolutely around in 10 years, and it'll be fun to see how big they can grow. And then BMW. So There's probably more that I could see lasting here in 10 years, but BMW has to be in there as well. I can't see them ever merging with anyone else really, but anything's possible. So see you guys down below on which 10 automakers do you think would be in a surviving in a post-apocalyptic world. Are there some Chinese automakers that you think would be replacing some of the traditional guard here? Let me know. I got to end it there. This week I have for review on the channel Mazda CX-90 with the inline 6. Can't wait to drive that for the first time. And I'm also getting another Nissan Frontier, which I've had a few on the channel over the past years, but I just had the Toyota Tacoma, I guess the old Toyota Tacoma, 2023 model. It's old, but it'll be fun to compare that versus the Frontier that I'll be getting since it's fresh in my memory. But thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, hit the like button. I appreciate you. Have a great day and peace.